From News 4, I'm Luke Moretti. Thank you very much for joining us. We're streaming live on WIVB.com, and we're continuing to follow the winter storm that is moving through the region. We have lots to tell you about, lots to show you, but first, let's get to meteorologist Stevie Daniels standing by right now in the studio with the very latest on what she's seeing right now. Stevie.
Hi, Luke. Good afternoon to you. Blizzard warning still underway for areas south of Route 20A. As we head into around 3 to 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, that's when they're actually set to expire. Areas mainly to the south of the Buffalo Metro, across the southern tier, and across the Boston Hills over towards the Wyoming Hills as well. These are really the areas that could see the higher amounts of snow and near whiteout conditions. And along with that, we could be dealing with visibility near zero at times. Isolated power outages also a possibility. That winter storm warning that was actually in effect for our northern counties, so for Buffalo, farther north, and even farther inland, was actually just expired and actually downgraded to a winter weather advisory. So the winter weather advisories for our northern counties are now in effect until 4 p.m. Friday afternoon, as we're still going to be dealing with a lot of that lake effect snow. And you can see mainly just dealing with pure lake effect snow. The lakes are quite awake at the moment. You can see a lot of those snow bands drifting in from west to east, and some of the heavier snow bands are currently setting up right around the Boston Hills, across ski country, even down towards Jamestown as well. This is, as we head into the next couple of hours, this is your hour by hour forecast. Right around 6 o'clock, so right around dinner time, we are still going to be dealing with some heavy bursts of snow, primarily to the south of Springville, right across Ellicottville, and even over by Dunkirk, closer to the lakeshore, and for areas farther south along the state border. But I do have some safety tips. If you have to head out and about, I really wouldn't suggest doing so. You want to really not frequently press on the brake. Allow your vehicle to come to a complete stop on its own, and also make sure to keep your steering wheel straight. That will allow you to have better control of your vehicle. And my number one rule, make sure to stay calm if you have to head out and about on the roadways. If you start to slip and slide, just try to have the vehicle ease on its own, and just make sure to stay calm. Again, that's the biggest advice that I would give you. But the biggest advice I would also give you, just stay home. It's going to be really treacherous, especially for areas farther south, and we could be dealing with near whiteout conditions as well. Luke?
Hey, Stevie, you should have been with some of the people driving this morning that I saw on the road with those tips. I think they could have used them.
Oh, yeah. It's really not looking great out there. And a lot of the roadways, Luke, are really looking slushy, snow cover, and it's really more of that thick, wet, heavy snow that's not really pretty, but the snow is really good for packing, so it's good for making snowmen and having snowball fights.
Yeah. Now, let's break this down just a little bit, what you were telling us in your forecast and the update. So for the north towns, that warning has expired as of 1 o'clock, and it's now been downgraded to an advisory, right?
That is correct.
So, but that shouldn't give people a false sense of security here, right? I mean,
right.
Because we're not out of the woods yet with this, right?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, we still could be dealing with additionally 2 to 4 inches of snow around the Buffalo Metro, across our northern suburbs, and for areas farther north across the Niagara frontier. So just because it was downgraded to an advisory, you still want to exercise caution if you have to head out and about on the roadways.
I know a lot of businesses, organizations have canceled today, they've closed and so forth, but still a lot of people had to show up for work, so I'm wondering about the afternoon commute a little bit later. What do you think?
Yeah, well, tomorrow afternoon, I'm thinking we could be dealing with a slight break. I mean, maybe around mid to late morning tomorrow, but a lot of that lake effect snow is really going to start to gain intensity. That's what the latest model runs are showing. So in terms of condition-wise, mainly for tomorrow afternoon for areas farther south around ski country, that's when we're going to be dealing with very persistent lake effect snow bands. It's actually looking like multiple lake effect snow bands, mainly to the south of Buffalo and to the north of Buffalo. But there is that one chance for one lake effect band to actually start to sag to the south, right around Buffalo, as we head into tomorrow evening. So that could create some pretty slippery and slick travel conditions as well. So throughout the entire day tomorrow, you really want to be weather aware.
Absolutely. Good advice. Thank you very much, Stevie. We really appreciate it. We'll let you get back to work and prepare for the evening newscasts.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. You know, we just saw some of the snow totals that possibly we're going to see when this is all said and done. And some of the big numbers are actually down in the southern tier, and we have some new footage that has come into News 4 from our crews that are traveling around the region. For example, along I-86, very difficult situation, obviously blowing snow, piling up at some sections, and even with that light coating that you can get on the roadways sometimes, it's deceiving, because it's really slippery out there, and if you have to stop fast, sometimes you can't do that. And also in the Jamestown area, as we take a look at some of the latest footage that was sent to News 4, and this is courtesy of Western New York NewsNow.com, showing us, almost, visibility issues there, obviously. And that's, par for the course around the region, depending on when the storm picks up intensity in certain areas. Now, George Rickard has been down in the Springville area for most of the day, and he's going to be reporting later on for the evening newscast on what's happening down there. But they sent back some footage showing what it's been like down there in Springville. And George was telling us that the State Department of Transportation has about 190 plow trucks in the Western New York region. They brought in about 5 extra plows from Binghamton to help clear the blowing snow on the roads, like along the 219 expressway. And all morning long, that has been open, but it's been open with low visibility in that area. They're taking it hour by hour and will close if necessary, according to the reporting by George Rickard. George also had a chance to talk to some drivers who were out and about in this weather. Let's take a listen.
I have a four-wheel drive, but I drove like an old lady with my hazards on, so.
Yeah. Any close calls on the curves or the road?
No, but there were a couple cars in the ditch, so
Okay.
I went real slow.
I came from the town of Boston. The roads are really thick with heavy snow. The driving is slow, so I drove my four-wheel drive today because I didn't want to slide around and get stuck somewhere, and I thought that was my best choice. And it's not a day for the faint of heart.
So, there's a look at what's been happening down in the Springville area town of Concord. In fact, George Rickard joins us live right now. They're actually driving around and giving us live pictures and so forth. George, what are you seeing down there right now?
Well, we're just outside the village of Springville. We're at 240 and 39, just exiting the village, and this is just a good idea of what some of the straightaways. This is a 45-mile-an-hour stretch. Of course, we got cornfields on both sides here of 240. This is town of Concord approaching East Concord. We're about 10 minutes away from Kissing Bridge. So you see the cross breeze blowing across the roads here. You see a little bit of pavement, but you see more snow. So at certain times, it's very bad visibility like it is right now. Other times when you get into the valleys, it's very good visibility. Here you see some headlights coming just out of the blue, so the visibility is reduced at certain spots, and then it's good. So it's good and bad. Oddly enough, though, we have not seen any cars off the road. Our photographer, Chris, began his day in Hamburg. He went up through much of the south towns and then worked his way down here. In the past hour, we went from the 219 expressway through Colden, all the way through East Concord, Kissing Bridge to Springville. No cars off the road that we saw. I'm not saying there are not cars off the road, but I think for the most part, a lot of drivers stayed home or stayed off the road today, and the plow drivers also had a good jump on it and good advance notice to have the manpower. So they are doing a pretty good job trying to keep the roads clear today, Luke.
George, we're noticing in this live pictures you're sending us that there are some spots as you're driving along there, there's snow on the road, snow covered, and all of a sudden it's down to bare pavement. What's going on with that?
Well, exactly, and it can change in a minute. What you're looking at now is winds coming off a field. These westerly winds blowing across a north-south road. But when you get into a valley, it's much better because you're protected. The winds cannot blow all that snow off a cornfield onto the road. So it all depends on whether you're in a valley or whether you're up on top. And I can imagine some of these places in Sardinia and some of the higher ground where you probably can't see the road at all. But all in all, the 219 was passable. It was drivable. It hasn't closed yet, as you said coming into my report, and so far so good considering the winds that we've had for the last few hours. However, I know the worst isn't over here in Springville, so we'll be reporting throughout the day here. As you said, now we're down in the valley. It's just wet pavement. We'll come up on the other side. It'll be snow covered again. So the locals know where the bad spots are, but it's the people who aren't familiar with some of the bad spots here in Springville that can be trouble.
Yeah, and some of those rural roads too down there, George, as you know, I mean, there's not a lot of room for error, right? As you're driving down, if you're going too fast,
right,
you got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm pretty surprised. We even called a local tow truck company to say, how busy is it? How bad is it? And as of noon, this local towing place only had one call, which was surprising to me. But some spots may be worse, but so far not quite as bad as what we expected to see here in Springville.
All right. George Rickert, thank you so much. We'll let you get back to work, and of course, you'll be preparing and getting ready for the evening newscast as well. Thank you, George. All right, so let's
thank you, Luke.
Move along here, and we have some travel advisories that we wanted to pass along, and this is the latest information from NYTEC. This is an incident report. Apparently in the town of Tonawanda, it is closed from Colvin Boulevard to Vicksburg Avenue because of a crash there. That was reported not long ago. We haven't received an update on that, so that's Colvin Boulevard to Vicksburg Avenue. Closed because of a crash in the town of Tonawanda. Also, they're experiencing some issues out in the town of Hamburg. NYTEC reporting that Route 5 West closed from Big Tree Road to LaSalle Avenue in the town of Hamburg because of flooding out there. And I'm being told from our folks that that's the result of spray that's actually coming off of the lake. And there's some video that you can see. I think we're looking at Angelica Morrison's video. Josh, is that correct? Yep. All right, this is Angelica Morrison, who's in the town of Hamburg along that section. This is video she shot and that she put up on her Twitter page to give you an idea of the spray that's causing some issues there, enough issues that they've actually had to close Big Tree Road to LaSalle Avenue in the town of Hamburg because of all of that flooding. So now, in addition to that, the town, Wyoming County actually sent out a travel advisory earlier, and this is for no unnecessary travel. And this comes from the Wyoming County Sheriff, Greg Rudolph. He's saying here the roads are not closed. However, the extreme weather combination of snow, wind, and cold has created blizzard conditions in that region. Travel very hazardous, extremely hazardous, he's saying. Visibility very poor and near zero in prone areas along with slippery and drifting roadways. North-south roads particularly hazardous, according to the Wyoming County Sheriff. And basically the agency's saying, that they're not going to determine the necessity of someone having to travel in this particular weather. However, this is an advisory. They want to send it out, and it's in effect until further notice that people really need to use their discretion. So there's a lot that is happening around the Western New York region today with regard to this winter storm that is moving through and is not just a one-day event. This is something that is going to be happening over the next day or two as things begin to sort out a little bit. We also wanted to check in with our digital content producer. This is Evan Anstey. And I see him, he's at the computer all the time, busy doing stuff.
That's right. Always got 3 screens in front of me.
Three screens. And so he's looking after WIVB.com.
Indeed.
So give us the latest in terms of your experience so far today. You've been in since early this morning.
That I have. Got in here about 5 o'clock, drove in from Niagara County where it was just rough being on those kind of roads. Got
Right.
a little better out this way, but I mean, depending on how bad it is, that's kind of scattered across the region. But yeah, I'm basically at the central command of everything having to do with digital. And I want to let people know, too, that it's very user-friendly to go on our website. We keep severe weather tools right there at the top with, radar, all the warnings, all of that.
Closing, like the latest closings and
Exactly.
all that.
We keep all that there too. Not just the business and the school closings, but we also have a list of road closures up to the minute as soon as we hear from NITEC or wherever else we get it from. And also the airport delays and cancellations as well. So however you're traveling, whether it's on the road or in the sky, whatever it is, just want to let you know that we have everything covered. and
One-stop shopping, right?
Exactly. And a major resource.
WIVB.com, for sure. I'm just curious, and you may not know this right now, but what's the last you saw of like cancellations and stuff with regard to air travel?
Last I saw-
What's going on here with Buffalo Niagara?
This morning it was a bit limited in terms of, just places across the country, but I did notice a lot in the northeastern region. Specifically, there were flights to and from Baltimore, there were a few from Florida, and then a couple from New York City and Chicago as well. So a lot of like northern travel and places where there's definitely going to be snow back and forth.
So the information so far today has been fast and furious, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
And
It
you're-
comes in like that, and we got to get it out as soon as possible.
Okay.
That's also why I recommend people download our app. That way they can get up-to-the-minute updates on the forecast and closures and everything else.
Easy to do, downloading the app?
Absolutely. Go on your app store, download it, and you're good to go.
Okay. Evan Anstey, thank you very much.
Thanks for
We
having me.
appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to talk with us. Looking after WIVB.com, which
Every day.
is vitally important, getting that information up for people to see,
Absolutely.
especially during a major storm like this. Thanks, Evan. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Let's find out about our crews that have been traveling around the Western New York region and out there in the middle of these elements. Our assignment manager, Russell Barbera, joins us right now. Russ, good to see you.
Thank you, Luke.
Welcome, and you have you're obviously instrumental in coordinating the crews and deciding where they go, and you're following the radar just as much
Absolutely.
as our meteorologists, right, to make that determination.
I do. Mike gets very busy, and we kind of need to look at the radar even after seeing his forecast to make sure that this is where we need to go to see what's going on. So we'll look at the radar, we'll listen to Mike's forecast, and just kind of look at social media even to see what's going on in various areas, and we'll go to the areas we think are being heavily impacted or we need to show people what's going on.
Where are they? So where are they going for? Because obviously we're sort of in between here, right? We're going to be
Right.
getting ready for the noon news, and then the planning starts for the evening newscast. So this is a very fluid situation, right?
Right. And we even started planning it yesterday. So we strategized where we thought we would need to go first thing in the morning. But long range, we knew that the southern Erie County, Springville in particular, was kind of going to be ground zero where the most snow is going to happen and the blowing snow as
Yeah.
well. So yesterday we had decided to have George Rickert down there starting at noon today and staying there through 4, 5, and 6 for sure. And so he's been down there all morning covering what's going on down there. So folks in areas where maybe it doesn't look so bad are wondering, well, gee, it's not so bad. Well,
Right.
it is in the areas where it's happening, where the snow is there. It doesn't have to be a lot of snow. When you have winds like this,
Right.
it's going to cause a safety issue for people. Now, the good thing is for people in Springville, they know how to deal with it, and they're ready for it, and they pay attention to the forecast. But we want to make sure we show you the areas where it is bad, bring the pictures, but most importantly, the information. So George is in Springville. Aside from that, we knew the lake was going to be an issue.
Right.
People along Hoover Beach, along the lake shore, it's also a safety issue, even if you're driving on Route 5. So we kind of strategized that we need to be taking a look at the lake today. So right now we just sent Angelica Morrison out that way to cover the lakeshore area. And as you know, our wake-up crew covered the north towns and the south towns just to show people as the storm progressed what was happening as it progressed.
Yeah, it really is like a juggling act, right? Because you don't
It
know,
is.
hour to hour this thing can change. You've maybe some traffic issues develop, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. It's a moving target. So we could have the whole thing planned out yesterday or this morning, and while we're sitting here, things could be changing. So you only have so many crews, and so you have to figure out who do I move from where to get to there, wherever there is, if there's something that needs to be addressed or shown, brought to the public. But in the end, it's all about giving the information so people can make wise decisions and be safe.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Russ, thank you. Appreciate your time, and I know you got a lot of work ahead of you here, so I'll let you get back to it, and perhaps maybe we'll check in with you later on. So thank you very much. We want to remind people, too, that as far as closings go, on our website, WIVB.com, we have a closing page that's set up, and you can go to that page, and let me see, the latest, we got about 505 active closings as of right now on WIVB.com. So if you're wondering if an organization or an event, that sort of thing is going to be happening later today, just go to WIVB.com for the latest information on closings. Now, as I mentioned, we're also preparing to get ready a little more than 45 minutes from now. The noon newscast on News 4 will be coming up. And right now I'm joined by anchor Dave Graber, who will be co-anchoring, I think, with Melanie Orleans.
That is true.
So
Correct.
you guys, there's a lot coming in, a lot of information coming in. You'll be advancing this compared to what you were on the air with this morning.
Correct.
Give us sort of a flavor of what's coming up. At
Yeah,
noon.
sure. You just heard Russ talk a little bit about how they're going to be covering tonight at 5, 6, and 6:30. We're going to be doing a lot of that similarly as the storm is kind of changing. A lot of it at this point, as we just heard from Mike, is kind of moving out of the metro area and really settling just where we've been forecasting, and that, of course, is the south towns. But there's also some snow and those high winds in the north towns as well. We have both of those covered for you. We'll have live shots from the north towns. We'll have live shots from the south towns. We've got a couple of photographers out there who are driving around. They're going to show us what conditions are like on the roads. A lot of folks, just about everybody, was off of school today, so maybe a lot of parents stayed home as well. Now that that snow has kind of moved out, at least of this general area within the almost 290, folks might be out and about. So just in case you want to take a look at what the roads are currently out on the highways and byways, we've got you covered for that as well. We're also going to be taking a look in addition to the latest weather forecast, because there will be some model runs that are coming in that will be new from what we had certainly this morning. We're going to be reminding folks about parking bans overnight. Now they're going into effect, making things easier, leaving plenty of room for snowplows. Of course, all these things we've heard constantly. We're also going to have a live look at the airport. I know we were showing this morning that there were a number of flights that were canceled and or delayed. We kind of joked around, although if your flight is affected, it's probably no joke. But
Right.
Mel and I were joking that a lot of these flights, unfortunately, were going to Florida. So folks trying to escape the cold and the snow and the wind, and you're going to be stuck here at least for another day. But you are in a better place than most of us, because at least you're going to Florida. We don't have any plans to do so.
I have no plans.
No plans.
None
I'm stuck here.
whatsoever. A lot of shoveling. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, right.
This is really this kind of a moving target here.
It
right?
is.
Because this is an event that's taking place over a couple of days or so.
Yeah.
So tomorrow could bring a new set of issues.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
exactly
region,
right. And like Mike, I was looking at some of the models as well, looking ahead to even Saturday when there could be additional snow, even outside of the areas that typically would see it, like ski country and the south towns. So I think what we have said all week, Todd and Andrew and Stevie and Mike, we've all said this the entire time, that this is a long duration event. There are waves in all this. I mean, the system that is bringing us all of this moisture, all this snow and the wind is massive. It's so big standing over Canada right now, and it is just going to be bringing these winds and bringing the snow in waves. And of course, the cold temperatures with it. This is some of the coldest air we've seen in a long time. That's significant. And then an event like this that stretches over 3 days, that's something we haven't seen this winter either. I've been begging for it. I don't know about you, but I've been begging for it all winter because I feel like this has been an uneventful winter.
It has been.
You know?
This
I like this stuff. I like event weather. It's fun. It's an inconvenience, but here's the thing. It's all about perspective. I mean, it's going to happen, right? We live in Buffalo.
This
We
is
live
Buffalo.
close to the
Yeah,
lakes.
yeah.
This is the reality. You might as well sort of enjoy it and embrace it, right?
Having said that, though, that
Yeah.
this is Buffalo.
Right.
We're used to this sort of thing
Yeah.
in the wintertime.
Yeah.
We know how to deal with it
Yeah.
on many different levels. Obviously the municipalities gear up and
Doing
so
a great
forth.
job.
They do a fantastic job
Yeah.
out there, whether it's local, state, whatever county. There are people that drive on the roads, though, that no matter how long they've lived here,
They forget or something.
they push the envelope.
They
And
push the envelope.
I just sometimes I don't understand that. Especially traveling on the 190, the 290,
Yeah.
the 90. It's like, and they're
Yeah.
going by, and it's like, what are you doing?
I know. I wholeheartedly agree. And because we were providing so many different looks in so many different areas this morning, we saw just that in a number of live shots, both on the roads and maybe some of our reporters standing off the roads. You would see people fishtailing all over the place, going way too fast, especially early in the morning when the snow was coming down pretty heavily, when those winds were really starting to pick up. I mean, a lot of people just seemed like they were out there driving on a normal day, which okay, I know you're experienced, but you know what? That's the thing. When you let your guard down, when you think you're too experienced, when you think you're better than whatever the
Right.
conditions are, you get too comfortable, you get lazy, you make mistakes,
Right.
and bad things happen. I mean, that's
You know, we say this over and over again, and I'm sure people get sick and tired of listening to it. But you know,
yeah.
when you give the advice like just slow down,
right.
take it easy, take your time, give yourself extra time. It's so true, though.
It is. Why do we need to constantly be reminded of these simple notions? Well, why do we continue to have accidents on bad weather
That's right.
days, right?
That's right. That's right.
It's because people have sort of lapses, and I mean, here's the thing: I think everybody's busy. Everybody's in their own world, oftentimes, and so maybe you're not concentrating on something because something is going on in your life, whatever it is. But you know, it's a good reminder when weather is like this to maybe try to focus a little bit more on what's going on around you. Self-awareness, as my old man always used to say. People have self-awareness, and it's rarely more important than it is on bad weather days out on the roads.
Good advice. Dave, thank you very much. Dave Graber, who will be coming up in a little while on News 4 at noon.
See you in
along with,
33 minutes.
33 minutes from now, along with Melanie Orleans and meteorologist Mike Syka will be joining, plus our crews that we have out in the field. It'll be doing live reports. Thanks again, Dave.
43 minutes.
43 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
all right.
I'm bad at math.
Okay, 43 minutes from now, but coming up at noon nonetheless. So
At noon.
whenever noon hits, Dave will be on. So thanks, Dave. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Luke.
And we just want to remind folks, you know, if you're interested in obviously finding about closings in the region, you can go to WIVB.com. We have a list of closings there, and I think last time we looked, it was about 505 or something like that closings, active closings along the region. And so, and if you need to contact us, you could do so through email. If you have an organization or some sort of an event that hasn't been canceled that you think has to be canceled, based on the forecasting, you can certainly reach us via email. So that's the latest for now. We encourage you to stay tuned for News 4 at noon when they'll have the very latest information on the storm system that is moving through the region. I'm Luke Moretti. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.